any either of these
teams, I think, in terms of what we're expecting from the meta, a lot of Fire Mage and Holy Paladin, I think that neither team is actually going to be bringing that, and they don't really even have it as an option. Ad Hoc Gaming is jungle, and we've got Walrix coming in on Warlock. So these are both unique compositions and don't have the Fire Mage on it. I'm very curious to see how it plays out in the lower side of the bracket. This jungle cleave now getting Relza instead of Zuniaki from last year. If you remember, Cassidy and Facile going to be trying to put it to them here. Will Walrix be able to avoid damage? Who's the target going to be? I would anticipate it is the Warlock. Relza jumping in, actually running the PvP legendary, where he's able to life grip himself to his ally, get in there for a Psychic Scream, putting Walrix pretty far behind early on. Fnobber's going to respect that crowd control, trade out a powerful cooldown, the Blessing of Sacrifice. Now Fnobber's charging in here towards Baka. Curious to see if he's able to get some heals off, and it is the main goal of the Warlock Shaman to just kind of avoid damage, play defense, and deflect the jungle away.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the really interesting things about the Affliction Warlock right now. A big change from Battle for Azeroth is the Affliction Warlock brings a lot of mobility, so really squishy as opposed to how it was in Battle for Azeroth. Is susceptible to taking a lot of damage, but very mobile. So for Team Tegridy Damp, it's going to be all about Walrus just creating distance, running away, surviving as long as possible, and putting out as much damage as possible. And it's basically a race for Ad Hoc Gaming to try to score a kill before Relza is completely out of mana, as Fnobber's on that Paladin will win that mana race. And that's kind of the main thing to pay attention to in this match. Ad Hoc Gaming really has to push the pace here.
Yeah, the jungle also needs to make sure they're crowd controlling multiple members. It's not just enough to trap the Paladin. They need to interrupt Baka on that Elemental Shaman during Healing Surge. Otherwise, Healing Surge will allow Walrix to survive the crowd control that Fnobbers is in. So they need to get perfect crowd control chains here. Relza in the back line looking like he may want to sit down for a drink, knowing that this team is highly skilled and this game could go on for some time. This is a smart tactic. He is getting mana. He's going back to full mana. This is a good position to be in, only 2 minutes in, restoring that fully. And as we see the resonating arrow down, Facile trying to lead the charge. They swap over to the Elemental Shaman, trying to mix it up here against Tegridy Damp, catch them off guard, but Fnobbers is ready. We're waiting to see if Facile will jump in for crowd control. Is Relza going to use that PvP legendary to jump into an ally for a Psychic Scream? It's Fnobbers who's leading the charge, trying to get in on Relza, but Facile intercepts him, and now Relza jumps in with the Door of Shadows, looking for a Psychic Scream. Tremor Totem available, but not being used here. Baka now in a stun, dangerously low on health, could get bursted out of nowhere with a Ferocious Bite hit, but managing to recover. A scary moment, but no panic and no overlap just yet. If Relza can manage to get drinks like this, though, throughout the match, I could see them pulling this into the late game. But, oh, look at this damage right now. Walrix, he's got Dark Soul available. Ooh. He's got Dark Glare, and he's going to be popping off.
Ooh. Yeah, Warwicks has been positioning so well this game. He's been making it near impossible for this jungle to actually get to him. He's just basically forcing them to go after Baka, which is not the ideal target if you are playing that jungle. And Warwicks on that After Warlock, just slowing everybody with that new legendary. He's going to use the Howl of Terror here as well. Big setup here onto Cassidy. They get the Lightning Lasso. Finally gets interrupted there by Facile. And now the jungle looking to finally get aggressive here onto Warwicks. He's going to use his Trinket. He's going to use his Demonic Circle to get out of danger. And he is going to try to drain his way back up to full HP here. Fnobber's now out of crowd control with those wings. Should have no problems whatsoever here, keeping his Warlock top, but still Warlock have to gate here behind the pillar. Fnobber's now in a Cyclone and potentially try to swap it here to Warwick's. Beautiful stuff here from Cassidy, and now Cassidy getting punished here a little bit. Warwick's still kind of low there, but he is going to recover from that. What?
That's it. I mean, if we have a replay for that, if we don't, Baka basically just went in with that one shot, and that is the potential burst that we do see from that Elemental Shaman. They were in the open for a little bit too long. They weren't paying attention, and Baka was able to take them down. Absolutely insane burst damage coming in from that Shaman.
All right, pretty solid first game from Tegridy Damp here. It's been a while since we've seen Ellie Shamans too, Venruki. What are the main changes that we're seeing with Shadowlands, and why are we seeing that burst damage potential coming from that class?
Well, I mean, it's a few things. The Stormkeeper with their totem as well, the Skyfury totem, provides a lot of bursts that they're able to get off. There was a change in Shadowlands as well, where critical strike damage in PvP is actually higher. So when they are able to get those crits, they crit even harder. And yeah, if you are not paying attention, you're not taking down that Skyfury, you're not LOSing and running, that is what can happen. And it's what's really interesting about Shadowlands is if you're responding to everyone's cooldowns, you can survive for a long time. But if you just slip up for a second, you don't pay attention, someone can drop you almost instantaneously.
Yeah, a little scary. Also cool to see games that don't even go into dampening first off for the first game of the day, having it go down that quickly with that burst damage. Super fun to see. We talked before that match as well of the sort of dominating healing specs that we're seeing come out. I think Sid was the one that mentioned it. You know, Holy Paladin is kind of the one that we're seeing predominantly. We also saw Disc Priest in that match. Where did we see the differences in those healing specs come, Sid?
I mean, this matchup, they were more evenly matched, I think. Obviously, the priest is going to be at a deficit in terms of mana, but the way the jungle was playing, setting up drinks, they were maintaining their mana reasonably well. Should that go into the late game, one of the main differences is that Holy Paladins can generally avoid casting. They can just use instant healing almost entirely with Word of Glory and Holy Shock. And there's the one shot from the Elemental Shaman, Dark Soul from Walrix. It wasn't even just the Elemental. Walrix and Baka both coordinating their burst cooldowns at the same time to kind of just overwhelm Cassidy right at the end of the game. But Paladin specifically, I think it's the talent Awakening, which we can check. I'm looking at it. It seems like it is working. So the gear and the talents, you can look at that. I'm not sure what the command is, but the Awakening talent for Fnobber. So when you cast Word of Glory, you have a 15% chance to proc Avenging Wrath. And when you have Avenging Wrath up, basically any heal you touch is going to heal someone to full health. So you can kind of just avoid casting, which is what's making the Paladin very powerful at the moment. And it has so many options to deal with every threat. It's got damage over time reductions, immunity to interrupts, powerful cooldowns to deal with burst. It's just the most well-rounded healer, and it doesn't have a noticeable weakness. Aside from maybe a rogue mage going after you right at the start and continuously going after you, Paladin is just so well-rounded right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as we did just see in that last game from Tegridy, Damp, pretty solid way to start off this match. Looks like we're going to be going to Dalaran Sewers, Tegridy, Damp, picking that same composition there. Not much of a surprise. Do you think that then it is up to their opponent to sort of switch it up and get another comp in here for Ad Hoc Gaming?
Well, I mean, that I don't know. It's hard to say. It's just one of those matchups where it feels like it can go either way, as far as I can tell. The smaller map is certainly going to be nice for the priest to be actually able to push in and consistently land those fears. But we'll see. I mean, on the Grand Arena, they kind of gave up on that. Ad Hoc Gaming was having a really difficult time actually pushing in and getting that crowd control, so they took more of a defensive position where they were kind of just using line of sight, just trying to put out as much damage as they can, as it really is a nightmare chasing down that Affliction Warlock. It's extremely difficult, and if you don't commit, you start falling behind on your mobility, and they're able to just kite you really well with that legendary Zico was talking about, where when you put up Corruption, it's a 50% snare on everyone. So you're putting out your damage, also snaring everyone. You have a bunch of mobility, and you have that consistent damage coming in from the Warlock, and then at any moment, Baka can just one-shot you as well. So definitely an uphill battle here for Ad Hoc Gaming, but I think this map will help them out.
All right, well, game number 2, Tegridy Damp already up 1-0 versus Ad Hoc Gaming.
That was just insane. That was just a Stormkeeper with the Sky Fury, 2 zaps. I mean, Warwick's had big dots as well with that Dark Soul, but I want to say Baka did most of the lifting in that first game, so they're definitely going to have to pay attention to whenever that Stormkeeper goes down, it's going to be buffing that Lightning Bolt damage by about 50%. Then you have the Echoing Shock, and you, of course, have the Echo of the Elements as well. So Baka can really stack up those modifiers and just do insane damage, especially if he gets those Overload procs as well. So very, very scary, but I do think I want to see them keep going after Warwicks here.
Double stun lock by Cassidy. Oh, he gets Howl of Terror by Walrix. Walrix can use a Demonic Circle. Now Relza and Hammer of Justice. Baka loading up, going for the Stormkeeper. This could be a huge hit. Is he going to change targets? Roar of Sacrifice likely active. Baka's lining up the Lava Burst, looking for the one-shot. It's Relza.
Whoa.
Relza ducks around the corner. Now swapping over to Cassidy, losing half his health. Rapture from Relza. Power Shield's coming in hot. Walrix has Dark Soul. He's ramping up that damage. Really trying to unload some pain here onto Cassidy. Cassidy jumping down. Oh no, Facil's pet going down. Managing to resurrect it though. Baka not able to harass him. Cassidy jumping in. 80 Ad Hoc Gaming pushing through the pain to get on top of the Warlock. Lightning last on Cassidy. There's that PvP legendary from Relza jumping in for a fear, but Walrix turns it around with a fear of his own. Now Walrix portaling back. I love this kiting from Walrix so far, forcing Relza, Cassidy, Facile always out in the open. If they want to play back to this pillar, they're not going to be doing any damage. Full trap on the Fnobbers. Gets imp dispelled by Walrix. Another advantage to the Warlock. They're still just trying to chop him up here, going right for him even without crowd control. His Fnobber's going to be able to deal with it. Now in a bash, Walrix drain lifing. Blessing of Protection comes in, dispelled off. Cassidy in a stun. Relza wind sheared, able to remove it. Cassidy jumps over to Baka, interrupting him for a moment. They need to get ready. Stormkeeper is available. It's loaded up, and Baka's ready to go.
Yeah, let's see who he can find. Relza gets interrupted, but just get deleted. Big heals coming in. He is able to get out of line of sight. Baka is going to have to find a new target, but that was such a scary moment. Walrix, though, taking quite a bit of burst damage. Fnobbers on top of him. If we look at mana, it's actually relatively even, something you wouldn't really expect in this matchup. Walrix still just kiting. He's running, he's hiding, but Cassidy's all over him. He's getting lower. That is the unending resolve. A little bit of a shield wall there for Walrix to reduce some incoming damage. And that should be enough for Fnobbers to potentially top him off, but this smaller map is working out great for Ad Hoc Gaming.
Yeah, it's all about keeping up the chase here onto Warwick. They need to try to find some CC onto Fnobbers and try to take him down. If they can do it enough times, that Warlock, he's going to be very, very slippery. But once he gets caught up in those stuns, he can definitely get erased. It's not only the Ellie Shaman who can erase people here, but Cassidy needs to be a little bit careful. And now they finally get a fear onto Fnobbers. Warwick's once again so clutch with that Howl of Terror. Immediately tries to turn things around. And Baka right now loading up another Stormkeeper. Here we go. Who's going to be the target? It looks like Facile potentially could be the target. He's going to go for the Lava Burst. One shot. Oh my goodness. That was just insane damage right there. Baka getting scatter shot there. Facile just trying to break up that one shot potential, giving his healer a little bit of time to breathe there. And I mean, every second they spend in this game against Baka is just another second where they might get erased here.
Oh, Relza jumping in, gets a Psychic Scream on Fnobbers. No Tremor Totem. They need to do some damage with this, but they're not able to connect. Walrix avoids all of the damage, but a Freezing Trap lands. Baka knocks Relza and Facile away. It's only Cassidy on Walrix at the moment. Can Cassidy take down Walrix by himself here? Doesn't look like it. Walrix gets to safety. Howl of Terror onto the whole team. Mana is not looking good right now for Ad Hoc Gaming. They're going to need to do something about it. Either push for a kill or try and reset for a drink, but with Fnobbers right on top of Relza, I don't think he's finding a drink anytime soon. Waiting for that Hammer of Justice cooldown to initiate. They've got Dark Soul, they've got Sky Fury, they've got Stormkeeper coming up here in the immediate future. Baka is harassing Relza, standing right on top of his pillar. Cassidy's trying to push through and find some damage, stunning up Fnobbers. They need to land a Freezing Trap here. Can they land it? Doesn't look like they can with no crowd control of Fnobbers. He should easily heal. Baka's loaded up. Stormkeeper in hand, ready to unload some massive lightning bolts. Big lava burst. Cassidy in trouble. Jumps into Bear. Frenzied Regen, Survival Instincts. Good deflection by Cassidy, surviving the burst and trading the cooldowns. Relza tries to drink. He needs to get mana. Baka and Walrix try to stop him, but they get pinned by the binding shot. Fnobbers dispels it. They need to stop this drink. Relza is getting mana. He's getting tons of mana and just put his team back in the game 1 minute before dampening.
Yeah, I mean, this is the absolute perfect time to do it as well. Relza really capitalizing on that opportunity. Baka once again going for a huge one-shot. Cassidy taking a little bit of burst, and Relza able to top him off. But look at Fnobbers and Walrix. They're just together, a solo unit. I mean, Walrix going to be able to dispel off the traps with that imp as well, just stacking up. Makes it really, really difficult for them to actually land a trap on the Fnobbers and get that crowd control that they so desperately need. Hammer of Justice onto Relza as Fnobbers charges in, but no real damage out just yet. Facile, Cassidy still managing to hold on. Now Facile's looking to get aggressive. Let's see what he can do. Baka taking a little bit of burst, but it doesn't seem like they have the damage to really push through. With no crowd control on Fnobbers, they should be okay, but I mean, these constant drinks from Ad Hoc Gaming, if Relza can find another one, they might be able to actually win this matchup on mana, which would be really surprising.
Yeah, it's very close so far. Cooldowns basically tied here on both sides, as well as the mana. And it could be anybody's game right now. Warwick's taking a lot of damage there. There's the trap, but it gets dispelled by the imp. Do they have anything to follow it up? They get a maim stun there, and Fnobbers actually uses his trinket on that one. And now Cassidy taking so much damage here. Baka is very angry right now and very hungry, it seems. He's going to be able to dish out the damage there, but Warwick's now again on the back foot there. Cassidy catching a few clutch kills there from Relza, but Relza's mana, despite that drink, is lower than that of Fnobbers at this point. The Holy Paladin so strong, and Relza taking a massive chunk of damage here once again. Baka is just creating so much pressure when they're leaving him free like this, and it really shows on Relza's mana bar.
Can they manage to out-mana the Paladin? If they get another drink, perhaps they can. Big damage from Facil's Resonating Arrow. Walrick's getting tapped over here. Downstairs, trying to get back to his healer, using Demonic Gateway, but Relza sat down for a drink again. They go for a Howl of Terror. They try and set up some crowd control, but they don't have the damage cooldowns. Can they pull it off? They're Lava Bursting Cassidy. Relza's getting cleaved down as well. Stacking up together, trying to get back to the pillar. Stormkeeper channeled. And they drop a binding shot, trying to pin back at the corner, but Relza's in line of sight. Huge elemental shaman damage. Relza ducking around the corner. Now Cassidy gets lightning bolt, dumping into bear form immediately, seeing that target swap. Baka getting mind controlled off into the distance, way out of the fight. Walrix and Fnobbers will be by themselves here with Cassidy and Facile. If they can get any crowd control, Relza tries to jump in, looking for a mind games, trying to redirect some of that healing into damage, but not finding any at this point in time. Avenging Wrath down for 30 seconds. Fnobbers caught into a scatter shot. Walrix could be in trouble here, trying desperately to kite with that Night Face Soul Shape. Cassidy getting low as well, caught into a Howl of Terror. Facile rotting down. Rapture activates from Relza. He's healing with what he can here. 7 minutes in, 12% dampening. Resonating Arrow is down. Facile needs to get a big double tap here on Walrix if he's going to find victory. Fnobbers' Avenging Wrath comes up in 14 seconds. He'll easily heal Walrix for quite a long time. Relza sits down for a drink. Walrix pops off with the Dark Soul. They're going for the kill while Relza sits down for a drink. Cassidy gets blasted out in midfield. Relza's forced to come back, but he did manage to get a little bit of mana. Freezing Trap on Fnobbers. They need to cover it. It doesn't look like Imp Dispel is going to work here. Dark Soul's up for Walrix, though. He's trying to counter pressure at the same time. Can he get out enough damage to find the kill with this cooldown here as dampening continues to rise?
Ooh, Relza burning through that mana. The thing is, he's consistently drinking, but at this point in dampening, he's having to use Radiance a lot, and that is how you burn through a ton of mana as a Disciplined Priest. So Tegridy Gaming just need to hold on a little bit longer. Tegridy dampening is where this team really thrives, especially with that Affliction Warlock. But once again, Relza sitting down for a drink. His mana, he's been able to hold on. I'm very impressed with this, but Baka trying to take him down with the Lightning Lasso gets interrupted. Good backup there by Facile. Fnobber still hasn't really had to go for a drink yet. Looks like Facile's pet was taken down. He's going to use the aspect of the turtle to resurrect that pet. But if they can take down the pet once again, Facile is going to be in a nightmare situation where that will not be available. Once again, pushing in. Walrus taking a huge hit of damage. Blessing of Protection does get ripped out there by Fnobbers, but Tegridy get damp. They still have a lot of defensive cooldowns at their disposal. They just need to hold on a little bit longer.
He's drinking.
Try to get that raw damage as they can, but this constant drink threat, and Cassidy and Facile are staying alive for such a long time, especially with Relza just running away, getting those consistent drinks. Tegridy Damp needs to find a way to punish them for going for these plays.
Yeah, and Relza, once again, after getting that drink, is going to have the mana lead for a little bit. Big damage coming in here. Relza now caught up in the Hammer of Justice. Let's see, is that drink going to get punished? Nice by Warrix. Oh my goodness, Relza getting deleted here in the swap. Uses the pain suppression. Warrix there as well, using his soul shape to dodge one of those aim shots. Big damage here on both sides. Warrix doing what he can to survive. Relza trading as well very effectively. Fnobbers now using his sacrifice as well and getting swapped to, taking big damage there. He's going to gate to safety. Facile's all over him. Baka now all over Cassidy as well. Everybody's taking so much damage. Facile now with another aim shot there, and finally they are going to duck for cover on the side of Tegridy Dam behind that pillar, and Cassidy still looking for that next setup. They get the scatter onto Fnobbers, they get the bash onto Warrix. Where is the fear? Relza looking for it, but he gets knocked by Baka, and Baka right now trying to kite his way back to the opposite side here. Relza immediately threatening for the drink. Fnobbers goes for the Hammer of Justice. Baka with the lava burst here. Big damage coming in with that Sky Fury totem. Warrix now as well, taking huge damage. He almost goes down right there. Could still go down. No sacrifice. What is he going to do? Unending Resolve comes in. Warrix just needs to hold on for a little bit longer. Wings are up for Fnobbers, and it looks like he's going to survive barely there.
Oh, I don't know. Freezing Trap, Divine Shield available. Walrix is so critically low. Drain life. He's way too far away. Fnobbers can't help him, but Cassidy's in trouble. Baka fires back with the Stormkeeper. Cassidy ducks for cover. Downstairs, Relza has 0 mana. Baka could play this out. Earthshock on a Facile. He's got no defensive cooldowns. Relza needs to drop the barrier back here. Maybe doesn't have the mana to do it. Absolutely 0 mana left. Fnobbers is trying to hack away in a 2v3. Double Psychic Scream. Cyclone pauses the damage. Facile lands the trap. Baka's now all alone. Mind Games gets cast. Baka gonna keep playing this out with the Astral Shift, try and recover while Fnobbers sits through crowd control, but I think dampening is too high for him to recover at this point. Relza's team looks stable, and I don't think Baka's pulling this off in a 2v3. Fnobbers goes to the Divine Favor, but Resonating Arrow is down. Huge aim shots. Facile KOs it. 1-1.
Wow. All right, now we're 1-1. Ad Hoc Gaming turning it around there in that second game. It really looked like it was going to go to Tegridy for quite some time there. Immense pressure out onto Ad Hoc Gaming, and just everyone super low. Almost got a cross kill, but Ad Hoc Gaming coming out the victor for that game number 2, tying it up 1-1. Going into game number 3 here, I couldn't even tell you what either of these teams are going to be able to do next year. I mean, we saw, Ad Hoc Gaming go down so quickly in that first game, and then it went to was it like 30% dampening in that second game there before they died?
Yeah, I mean, it was something
pretty high.
Yeah, it was something like that. I mean, that game was so incredibly close. At that point in the match, Ad Hoc Gaming, they had no mana left whatsoever. So it was just, they only needed another 10 seconds. If they hadn't taken down Walrus in that moment, I think they were going to lose the game. And I mean, it all came down to those consistent drinks coming in from the Priest. Relza doing a great job with that. His team buying him enough time to sit down and drink. But I can't help but feel like maybe Tegridy Damp could have done a better job slowing down those drinks, because if he wasn't recovering that mana, they would have won the game a lot sooner. But it's good plays from Ad Hoc Gaming that is setting that up. But I expect we're going to be going to a little bit bigger of a map here, but maybe that'll backfire, honestly, for Ad Hoc Gaming or for Tegridy Damp, because if Ad Hoc Gaming can consistently drinks, they can set up those big one-shots that we saw.
What do you think, Sika? And guess as to which map we're going to go to next?
I would say something a little bit larger. I would guess Ashermains. Yeah, I would probably go with Ashermains if I was Tegridy Damp. And it's, we've been talking about it a lot, but usually when two teams face off, it's kind of one team being the defender and one team being kind of the aggressor. And it's kind of clear here that Ad Hoc wants to be the aggressor, but minus the one-shots coming out from Baka, it's mostly Tegridy Damp just trying to drag on the game, trying to keep that Warlock alive and win with that raw pressure from that Affliction Warlock. And it's kind of like what you guys said earlier as well. This matchup can just end in 10 seconds, but it can also go for a really long time if both teams are trading very effectively. And I think a lot of it comes down to Facile there with his scatter shot usage was very nice. Anytime those Stormkeeper lightning bolts came out, he would immediately allow one to go off and then scatter before the next one goes off, trying to stagger that burst damage a little bit, buying his healer a little bit more time to actually react.
And given what you're saying, Zico, that Ad Hoc wants to be on the offensive here, do you feel like their composition in the context of Shadowlands with everything new that we're seeing that lends itself well to that sort of play style, or do you think they need to come back a little bit and just play a little bit more on that defensive end?
Well, I think for them, in an ideal world, they get to go on the Warlock as much as possible. They get to set up their CC and stick to the Warlock. The problem is, Warlocks right now, they're just permanently slowing you, and they have a lot of mobility. They got the gateway and their demonic circle, and even if you get on top of them, they can do those Howl of Terrors like we saw Warwick's do. In addition to that, he's also playing Night's Face, so he's going to have that soul shape, allowing him to blink around with extra movement speed. It's just a lot of movement speed and kind of a lot of movement suppression on their side. So, in an ideal world, they just want to be super aggressive, but I think it's a lot about kind of catching the Warlock and, pouncing on it. If you waste too much time chasing him, that's exactly what Tegridy Damp wants you to do.
All right, well, we'll see who exactly pulls it off going into game number 3 here. Sounds like we are going to be going into Tolvaron Arena, Supatees. What do you feel like that changes for either of these teams?
It seems like the main problem wasn't their kiting. It was right at the end. The end of the game, the kiting is what killed them. If Nobbers had bubbled and Walrus was there, I think they would have lived and probably won. So their defense is good. It seems like stopping drinks. It's either you need to stop every drink or you just don't care. Sometimes you can just opt to not care, be like, we have a paladin, they have a priest, they'll just again. The game's going to last a minute longer if we keep playing good defense. We'll just let them drink and we'll them again. That's how they played that game on Dalaran, at least, it looked like. And anytime they tried to stop a drink, it ended up being worse for them than it was better. So this map will be really good for them to just play defense, drag the game on as long as possible. Also, it increases the likelihood that Baka will just zap somebody because there's a lot of open space. So if Cassidy or Relza jump out in the open to go for crowd control, they'll be out in the open longer than they were on Dalaran. So it increases their potential to just erase somebody, and it increases their potential to survive really long. And I feel like they're not going to focus on stopping drinks so much. Maybe we see more swaps to Priest. I think going after the healer, especially as an elemental shaman, is a good idea. And we saw that on Dalaran. I think it'll be punished a lot more on Tolvaron.
All right, well, Ven, what do you think here? Ad hoc gaming, we are seeing that dangerous potential of Baka getting out that burst damage again and just killing someone instantly. What do you think what do you want to see ad hoc gaming do to sort of take that pressure off of them coming from Tegridy Damp?
Well, it's kind of exactly like Zico said. Even on the Grand Arena, it just seems like they weren't really paying attention to him, and that's what can happen. I mean, there's so many classes right now in Shadowlands where if they're able to just do their thing and you're not really looking at them, they can take you down really, really quickly. But if you're paying attention, every time Sky Fury's up, you're killing it off, you're interrupting or staggering the damage that comes out from their Stormkeeper, like Zico mentioned. These are all really important things. The thing I like that Ad Hoc Gaming is doing is Relza with his Legendary. In the past, Disciplined Priest, it's been hard for him on a map like this to kind of get into the fight and actually push in and get the spells and get fears, especially when he's playing so far back. But this new Legendary that lets him kind of life grip himself in. It lets him get into the fight really, really quickly and kind of throws Tegridy Damp off a little bit. And it also allows him to kind of just sit back and drink when he needs to. And then when they do finally get that momentum, he can kind of turn the pressure up. So that's what we want to see from Ad Hoc Gaming. I'm curious to see what Tegridy Damp decides to do with this map. Are they going to play more aggressive? Or are they kind of just going to sit back and kind of wait for dampening? Only time will tell.
Like Baka's just running in there right away, just getting Flame Shock up on as many targets as possible. The main objective for the Elemental Shaman, but he's getting harassed quite a bit. So maybe Walrix wants to relay his gateway on top of that pillar, put a portal out in midfield or something like that. If they push in here with no portal or gateway, it's very risky, and they are currently. Knobbers gets interrupted. They're chomping on Baka. Facile jumps in for a scatter shot, resonating arrow, freezing trap, looking for some big burst here. Not able to find it. Baka recovers, trades Astral Shift, and immediately Ad Hoc Gaming are back to the pillar. All right, we got what we came for. Fnabbers pushes in to try and deny the retreat. Relza pre-barriers the incoming Stormkeeper on that Hammer of Justice. That was excellently timed. Baka's patiently waiting for the barrier to fade. He's loaded up with some big lightning bolts going after Cassidy. Big Lava Burst combos. Huge damage with that Earth Shock. Relza recovers, though, with the Radiance, and of course that Conduit providing a huge enhancement on Radiance's healing. Relza heals his whole team back to full in one button. Now Fnabbers is stunned up. Baka on a scatter. Walrix in a 3-on-1, stunned up by Cassidy as well. Big Ferocious Bite comes in. Ad Hoc Gaming, they're looking solid on this map so far. Baka mind controlled off into the distance. Walrix goes for a Dark Soul Rot combo, trying to burst down Cassidy. Cassidy immediately retreats, but gets intercepted in midfield. The downside of this map, Facile backs him up with a counter shot. Facile's still out in midfield. He has Feign Death, though, and he can use his Legendary to remove all the damage over time effects, so he's not going to be taking too much damage from a Warlock or an Elemental Shaman, and the teamwork of Ad Hoc to get each other across the map and then back to the pillar is excellent so far.
Very, very strong opener here. From both sides, Baka's going to have that Astral Shift coming back up.
Whoa!
Warwick's, whoa! That was a massive chunk of damage right there. Facile activating that Feign Death, using his Kyrian Vial there as well. And he is going to scatter shot Baka right there. A little bit after the burst there. So Facile, a little bit slower there than what we saw in the previous game. But he is going to survive there without having to trade any real significant cooldowns. And so far, Relza now sitting down for the drink. Let's see, are they going to stop it? Look at that Shadow Fury from Warwick, sniping him around the corner there. Baka on the left side, Warwick's on the right side, and that forces the jungle to leave the pillar and do a setup here because they are going to be in that kind of chokehold position. This is the triangle formation that we always talk about here on this map, and they are going to choose to go after Baka here, but he has his Astral Shift coming up, so he can do whatever he wants pretty much behind that pillar. Going to use that Stormkeeper and that Lightning Lasso, get a little bit of pressure there for free, and they're just trying to basically wither down Relza's mana as much as possible at this point without actually overextending behind the pillar. Facile's losing his pet there in that exchange as well. They're actually stopping it. Warwick's going in there for a triple Howl of Terror. Very aggressive here. Warwick needs to be very careful. He is the squishiest member here on the side of Tegridy Damp, so Baka can afford to be kind of the front line, and Warwick's, he has to push in every now and then, but for the most part, he just wants to keep his dots rolling and allow Baka to just do whatever he wants.
I'm curious what their game plan is here. I mean, it is Tolvaron Arena. Obviously, it's not ideal to push in against these wizard setups, but maybe they feel like they want to wait for dampening. But I feel like what Tegridy Damp is doing, really pressuring Relza's mana, pushing in, getting the Hammer of Justice on Relza, forcing him to use those Radiances to burn through his mana, although he will top off his team as long as they deny the drinks. I feel like Tegridy Damp, they're looking good. Fnabbers even sitting down. His mana is 100% at this point in the game. So Ad Hoc Gaming, I feel like they need to push the pressure, the pace a little bit in this matchup, or they're just going to eventually fall apart. We'll have to see. Tegridy Damp still just pushing in. Baka trying to create as much pressure as possible. Walrus just dotting everyone up at this point in the game. But like you mentioned, Facile being able to feign death, removing over those damage over time effects, Cassidy with a lot of off healing, they're going to help Relza sustain. But his mana already down to 50%, about a minute away from dampening. And as long as they deny those drinks from Relza, I feel like Tegridy Damp, they have themselves a good situation here.
They've got the triangle positioning, triple Howl of Terror. Walrix is loading up Unstable Afflictions onto the whole team. Hammer of Justice on Relza. Perfect situation here for Tegridy Damp to try and close this match out. But Relza recovers, jumps in with that Leap of Faith Legendary, goes for a Psychic Scream. Baka tremors it out. They need to get big heals onto Walrix right here. Fnaber's Blessing of Protection. Relza purges it off instantly, pushing down Walrix. Walrix soul shapes back out into midfield, though, out in line of sight of Facile's True Shot. Big Hunter damage, but Cassidy can't really help him out here. Cassidy's trying to hibernate Baka in the Ghost Wolf form, try and catch him out, doesn't manage to, goes for a stun Cyclone. Relza looks like he wants to sit down for a drink. Cassidy's trying to prevent him from pushing in, but I don't think he's going to get any mana. Lightning Lasso fully channeled around the corner. Relza, that's going to tax a lot of mana if he uses a Radiance here to recover. Fnaber's repositions out in midfield. Baka in on the right, Walrix in on the left, and they're playing on the Warlock's portal. This is dangerous for Ad Hoc Gaming. Walrix can portal right on top of them. They drop a barrier, potentially a Thunderstorm to knock them all out here. Waiting to see if Baka goes for it. There's the Thunderstorm. Big Stormkeeper channeled up here. Lava Bursts fly in. They howl Relza out of the barrier. Malefic Raptures coming in from Walrix. One after the other with Aura Mastery from their Paladin, trying to get some free casted damage out, but somehow they managed to recover through it. Baka tries to sneak in a Hex Lasso. Relza line of sights it. Facile standing on top of Fnaber's. Facile chasing Fnaber's in midfield, looking for a freezing trap. Oh, but he misses it on the root. Fnaber's just going to walk away from that. Maybe Facile has a knock to knock Fnaber's into it. They drop the Resonating Arrow. They're just going for damage anyways. Big rapid fire onto Walrix, trying to burst him down. If that freezing trap had landed, it would have been so much better for them in this position. Cassidy goes for a Cyclone on Walrix, but Baka is left open, channeling out Lava Burst. Facile interrupts it. Relza Dwarf Shadows trying to retreat across, not wanting to play on the Warlock's portal, but that Corruption slow legendary Relza is basically RP walking back to the pillar to try and drink on that side, and this map is paying a lot of favors for Tegridy Damp.
Yeah, and Cassidy's slowly rotting down here. Relza can't afford to go for the drink. He's going to activate the Rapture cooldown here, trying to keep him alive. Goes for the Mind Games here, trying to turn things around onto Warrix. Warrix porting away from his healer right now, and this is actually excellent positioning by Warrix. He's dragging the Feral as far away as possible from his healer, and look at that pressure they're getting from that. That makes it impossible for Relza to actually get a drink, and Cassidy's still in a lot of trouble. If he uses his trinket, Baka, very, very dangerous on that Alley Shaman, gets Cassidy to use his trinket and his survival instincts there as well, and Relza's mana is not looking good right now. They're playing exactly the way they need to be playing right now, and Baka's gonna have his trinket as well, which allows him to basically be a Terminator, stopping those drinks, and now Cassidy realizing, hey, we need to get aggressive here. If Fnaber's doesn't have trinket, they go for the scatter shot, they don't get the freezing trap, and now once again Warwick's going to be able to port to safety using that Warlock mobility and now get back out in the open. And here we go, big pressure coming out onto Cassidy. Relza just trying to out heal it with that damage, and once again Warwick's looking for more dot damage now, going to be turning his rot pressure here over onto Relza. Full dots on everybody in the team. Warwick's though very aggressively positioned so far. Fnaber's doesn't have trinket, doesn't have sacrifice, gets feared there, nicely done by Relza, and now Warwick's still ducking for cover, and Cassidy is the one forced to retreat here. And I think Tegridy Damp here, they're living up to their name. I think they're very, very close to winning this game.
Yeah, look at Baka. He's all over Relza. Relza needs a little bit of help. He gets wind sheared. He has no mana left. Looking for a few Shadowmans, but getting lower. Cassidy in desperation looking for a Cyclone. But it looks like Tegridy Damp, this is the situation that they want. Everyone is rotted down. Relza has no mana left, and they are not going to let him drink. This is completely in favor of Tegridy Damp, but still, Ad Hoc Gaming, if they can make one final attempt, but Fnaber's, he's got Trinket, he's got Bubble, he's got Sacrifice, he gets everything. Eventually, it is going to be Relza that does get dropped, and I feel like Tegridy Damp, they played this one so well, they just denied the drinks from start to finish, and it was really hard for Ad Hoc Gaming to get anything going or kind of reset the matchup like we saw in Dalaran Sewers.
All right, 2-1 now in favor of Tegridy Damp, winning that third game here. This is best of 5 again here, double elimination. So if when one of these teams loses, they will have another chance to try and make it back up to that grand final spot. So it's not quite over yet for Ad Hoc Gaming if they do lose this next game here. But pressure certainly on for these guys in Cup number 1 here. So Tegridy Gaming certainly doing pretty well in this first game. That composition's super working out for them. How do we feel about it? Do we think that this is like reliable for the rest of their matches that we're going to see in this tournament? I mean, how are we feeling about Warlock Ellie here, Benruki?
Warlock Ellie, I feel like the biggest problem with Warlock Elemental Shaman right now is how good Paladins are. Like how good Paladins are, how good Fire Mages are, Windwalkers, for example. These compositions are just so durable against the Affliction Warlock. It's really hard for them to push through the defense of, Triune Barrier, all the healing that Paladins have, just constantly having their wings up. Their playstyle of kind of rotting everyone down, it requires deep dampening to actually close out a game, unless you're getting that one shot with the Elemental Shaman. But if you shut down the Elemental Shaman, it just seems like that comp in particular can live a long time. I think that's going to be like the major oppressor of the Affliction Warlock is the Fire Mage Paladin.
Quite a lot of moments to unpack there as well. We do have a replay from that last game here if you guys want to talk over this one.
Yeah, so Relza just ports away. I mean, at this point, they don't have any cooldowns. Relza has no mana, and look at Baka. He knows if I stop Relza from drinking, we win. He gets 1 Lava Burst, and look at that one. There it is, a double Lava Burst into the Earth Shock, and that is going to be good night for Relza. And that's the interesting thing about Ellie Shaman right now. You have so many different ways to delete people. You can delete people with Earth Shocks. We saw the Stormkeeper one-shot, and of course, you can get those big Lava Bursts as well if you go with the Echoing Shock and you're casting a Lava Burst and you get a Lava Burst proc at the same time. That's 3 Lava Bursts plus the fulminations as well. If those start proccing, all of a sudden you can do 6 Lava Bursts, 7 Lava Bursts in a row and just completely destroy somebody. So Ellie Shaman just looking great. And we have a lot of those over in Europe. I know in North America it's a lot of Windwalker Fire Mage and some Ellies as well. Shout out to Smexen, but in Europe, we got Z5, we got Baka, we got all these guys ready, and they have been polishing their one-shot rotations all expansion long.
Yeah, they have been waiting for Ellie Shaman to be good once again. Super exciting to see these classes, these sort of newer classes that haven't been quite flavor of the month for a while, come out and to be so strong like we are seeing here in this first game. But if you guys were saying, like, when that last game just ended, that they've really sort of figured out how to get Relza, preventing him from taking a drink, Supatis, do you feel like that's a reliable strategy going into game number 3 here? Is this going to be 3-1 on the side of Tegridy Damp?
Well, I think we're probably going to something like Black or Cold, if I had to guess, for the jungle, which is a bit easier for Relza to kind of sneak away to line of sight, probably likely to get more drinks, take less damage, which means he'll have to use Radiance less, because it seems like they need to get a little bit into Damp to be able to kill the Warlock. Obviously, Lock Shaman, especially Affliction Ellie, has been notorious for a history of long games of being really defensive, so they need to balance the kind of like early game, try and catch a kill with some crowd control, but don't really overcommit and don't spend too much mana, because where they're going to be able to finally push through the defense is later into the game. So for them, it's more about maintenance. Actually, okay, maybe it's not about maintenance if they go for Hook Point. I feel like Hook Point means that they want to play aggro. I know Relza likes to play aggro. Obviously, he played last year with Flappers and Dizios, so I think that he's a priest that would prefer aggro, I think. So Hook Point is a good map for that. I'm curious to see what they decide to do, which target, because we've seen some games they start on the Shaman, other games they start on the Warlock. Sometimes they swap between the two, and on Hook Point, Walrix could have a difficult time. The gateway and portal are very small distances. Also means that the Hunter and Feral can get out of line of sight a little bit more easier as well. To me, it seems like their defense needs to be all focused on Baka. What's he doing? Is he got Stormkeeper? Does he have Sky Fury? If he does, we need a Shadow Meld or a Feigned Death or a cooldown, a Survival Instincts. And as long as they respond to Baka's cooldowns before the Lava Burst hit them, I think they'll be able to maintain their mana.
All right, well, game number 4 is ready, going to Hook Point. It is 2-1, Tegridy Damp on match point against Ad Hoc Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with this map, it looks like Ad Hoc Gaming, they really want to push the pace. They're going to be the ones moving in, trying to get crowd control on Phenobbers and win the game a little bit early on with crowd control, not relying on that dampening. But it could backfire. If they don't end up getting the kill, Relza is going to struggle to get any sort of drink or recovery in this matchup. So it is do or die on match point. Keep in mind, this is an elimination series as well. So if Ad Hoc Gaming loses this one, they are out of the tournament. for the weekend, and we'll see what Tegridy can do if they can survive. We can see a big one-shot from Baka, but it looks like Walrus going to get opened up on, and big burst damage early on.
Ooh, nice. Baka. No, he doesn't go for the lightning lasso there, though. He goes for the hex onto Relza out of that howl, but unfortunately no lasso onto Cassidy, so he's not going to be able to shut down that remove curse that the druid has. And now Baka, though, has his Stormkeeper. He has his... Oh, my goodness. There you go. First zap of the game, and Relza already, his heart is pounding right now. You can see dropping down to already 30% there in the initial stages here. Big pressure coming out here from both teams, but now it is Ad Hoc Gaming's turn to kind of respond, and there it is. Relza with the life grip into the fear, gets it onto Fnober's. Nice Tremor Totem, though, by Baka, preemptively placed there, and now Fnober's in a trap with the root here. Warwick's in big trouble. This could be the trinket.
Oh
my
Are you kidding
goodness!
me? That was a bite. That had to be a bite. That was a big bite, too.
That was an aim shot big bite.
They had every cooldown.
God.
Wow, they didn't even try and play that out. They were just like, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was listing off every button that they had. I mean, that's got to be... They got to feel happy about that one after what happened to them on the Grand Arena to the Elemental Shaman, getting a nice little one-shot of their own, but that was absolutely insane. I believe that actually was the bite coming in, that ferocious bite from the Feral Druid. If it crits, that can do a lot of damage. Very devastating.
Yeah, devastating indeed, Ven. Hopefully we will get a replay on those last couple of seconds there as Ad Hoc Gaming was able to win that game super quickly. Was that quicker than the first game in this one on the Grand?
I think so.
For sure.
All right.
This is the quickest game we've had in Shadowlands.
I mean, the bar's pretty low so far, but
we're gonna set a lot of records today, and that is exciting.
Longest game, shortest game.
Do you feel like the inconsistency of these match times, especially when these teams aren't really changing up much, is sort of due to players getting used to the new meta and pacing of everything, or is this going to be what we see for the rest of these 4 cups, do you think, Super T's?
The abilities that hit hard hit really hard. So if you don't kind of like pre-react to them, you're gone. But then if you do pre-react to them all the time, then the damage outside of those big windows is really low. So you just need to always be ready for that moment and anticipating it. And obviously this is now a 5-game series, so every once in a while one of them is gonna sneak through and maybe they're getting comfortable. They need to play the matchup a little bit because maybe they've got still Destro Warlocks in their head and they're still playing that meta game from BFA. So now transitioning over, there's a lot of different specs. You need to know how they all work. It's not just one spec that you need to know how it works and their burst works. So it's just getting caught off guard. It's just the spike is really high, and Fnobbers and Walrix, and I can imagine Baka too, are all just like, okay. That was an insane bite. I guess we're going to game 5. But the bigger maps will help them have time to react, because they'll see the Feral Druid moving in and they'll see the Hunter coming in and be like, okay, they're about to do it, we're ready. But on Hook Point, it's like they're here the whole time. I don't know when I'm going to die. And they weren't ready for it, obviously.
Yeah, it definitely raises the intensity of these games. We're going to take a look at a replay to see if we can check out what exactly happened, if you guys were right on this last game here.
I think it was an aim shot bite combo, but I could be wrong.
Mind games?
It
It gets interrupted?
Gets kicked.
Bite?
Aim shot?
Oh, it's
that's Facile. That's a fat bite aim shot combo right there. My goodness. You can tell Facile, he was tired of scattershotting Baka. He's like, you know what? You scattershot me now. Let's see.
All right, well, going to game number 5. What do you think? What do you think we're going to see here, Zico? What do they have left here for options?
Ashamains looks good, I think. Tegridy Damp. They're probably picking Ashamains, and I don't know.
I like
What if we go to the new map?
Yeah, I like
the new map. Yeah, that's a good option.
Yeah. I'm surprised we haven't seen it yet. Are you guys?
It's the first series of the day.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know, but
we've only had 4 chances.
that's true.
But,
that's true. I'm sure we'll see it. But we are going to Robodrome.
Ooh,
I don't really like that
interesting.
one.
Yeah, I feel like that's a Dead Warwick's map.
You feel like it's a Walrix choice?
No, I feel like Warwick dies on that
Warlock
map.
Okay.
I think if you're Warwick's, you definitely were voting against that map.
Are they... Oh, they're not changing their composition here. So
Yeah.
what do you feel like they're thinking then if we don't like this choice from Tegridy?
I mean, the nice thing for Walrick, the only thing that's really nice for Walrick is he can put his portal up on the ramp side. So he can put his demonic circle up there. But the problem is I feel like Facile and Cassidy aren't really going to mind that. The Feral Druid's going to be able to reconnect really quickly. Facile obviously a range class, but I don't know. If Walrus decides, hey, I'm going to be using the pillar to line of sight for the most part, I don't know if I necessarily love this map, but we'll see what they're thinking. I think for Ad Hoc Gaming, I like the idea of them just pushing the pace. I don't think they should be waiting behind the pillar, and because I feel like their strategy of waiting behind the pillar and trying to go for drinks kind of relies on mistakes from the side of Tegridy Damp, whereas when they actually push in, they get aggressive, they try to go for those aim shot bite combos. That plays more into the strength of their composition, and that's what I'd like to see for them in Game 5 if they want to win the series. For Tegridy Damp, they just have to be on point, respect the damage of that ferocious bite and that aim shot. You have to be afraid, because if those crit, that's 50% of your health gone right away.
All right, game number 5 here, tied up Tegridy Damp versus Ad Hoc Gaming. Also, I gotta say, a couple people in chat pointed this out as well. Well, okay, it's just something I want to talk about. Quite a number of things different with the UI as well.
Yeah, big updates so far to the UI. We can see the class colors. You can see the debuffs as well. A little bit more of them. You can see right now Baka under his frame right there. You can see the scatter shot and the duration of it and everything. Big shout out to the people who've been working on that. And the game is live. We got the Reds already in the Hammer of Justice here. Baka, Stormkeeper. He's dropped the Sky Fury. Who is he going to select as his target right now? Baka actually gates out of there and realizes he's behind enemy lines. And there we go. Oh my God. Facile drops to 10% again. Whoa, his HP is literally a JoJo right there. Look at Relza burning through 20% mana right away.
Wait, that's a Swedish accent. A yo-yo. That's awesome. Cassidy and a lightning lasso right now. Baka trying to set up some burst damage for his team, but it is Ad Hoc Gaming once again. Very nice knock there from Baka. Cassidy and Facile going to be shut down just a little bit on their damage potential. Fnobbers and Walrick still just preemptively kiting. It's a game of cat and mouse. Relza going to be chasing in and able to get that double fear. Big mind games on Baka right now. He's in trouble. 3v1 situation. Fnobbers finally out of crowd control. Some big heals incoming, but the diminishing return trap goes out onto Fnobber. Still an opportunity for them to take down Baka, but finally able to cast. Fnobbers tops off his team, now looking for aggression of his own, landing that Hammer of Justice onto Relza.
Oh, Baka's trying to line up a Stormkeeper with that Hammer of Justice. Is he going to be able to combo it here? Who's he going to go after? All 3 targets in line of sight. Big triple lava burst combo. Lightning bolts flying out. Facile, aspects of the Turtles, respects it on game 5, facing elimination. They can't afford any mistakes. They're trying to push for the kill here onto Baka. They stun up Fnobbers. They go for the Psychic Scream. They cover it. Walrix is counter pressuring though. Dark Soul and Dark Glare. Baka on the back foot. They have to trade sacrifice blow after blow back and forth between these teams. Facile trying to jump back to the pillar, but Cassidy out in midfield, going for Cyclones, trying to stall the advance of Tegridy Damp here, but he's very low on health out in midfield. Windsheared on a heal. He's trying to push through the pain, but the whole team is getting decimated. Big Radiance comes in from Relza, back in the fight. Baka pulls towards the gateway on the portal for Walrix, waiting for that Stormkeeper, waiting for the Sky Fury Totem. Facile wants to land a freezing trap here. Are they going to cover it with the Entangling Roots? Relza jumps in for a Psychic Scream. Baka uses Demonic Gateway. Cassidy in pursuit, activating the Kindred Spirits, going for some big burst damage potentially onto Baka here. Needs to push for the kill, but Astral Shift from Baka denies it. Defenses are up. Relza's mana not looking amazing at this point in time. Are they going to try and reset? Look for a drink here. They're currently just going after Baka with no crowd control. This is dangerous. Stormkeeper channeled by Baka. Loading up here. Primordial Wave. He could Thunderstorm everyone out of the barrier. Where's the Thunderstorm? Doesn't look like they're able to. Baka Cyclone. There's the Thunderstorm. Where's the Stormkeeper Lava Burst? Baka's trying to line it up, but he's getting disrupted. Not able to find damage just yet. Interrupted and stunned. Fnobber's now in a freezing trap. They dispel it off with the Imp Singe magic. Fnobbers recovers. Now Fnobbers wants to push in. They've got Hammer of Justice. Walrix wants to get into the fight. Baka gets knocked off the side. Tries to line the sight over here with Cassidy. Cassidy winning this one-on-one exchange. Looks for a Cyclone at low health. Cyclone's a blessing of protection. Nice. Well timed.
Really nicely done there by Cassidy, able to slow down any sort of incoming healing. Right now, Relza eats a big UA, and he has rotted through most of his mana, but Ad Hoc Gaming, they're just going for it. They need to try to take down Baka, but the Tegridy Damp can stabilize, I feel like they've gotten to their win. Lightning Lasso onto Cassidy right now. Relza just nothing left in the tank. Rapture Shield's going to be able to keep his team alive for a little bit longer, but the Purge is incoming as well. Relza is just completely out of mana. At the same time, the Baka going to be taken down. Stormkeeper gets interrupted immediately. Relza, he goes in for a fear, but he might just get punished. Walrus finds a fear of his own, looking to take him down. Scatter shot on the Walrus. They need to slow down damage just a little bit more, but if they run away, it's going to be devastating. Cassidy getting bursted down, and he's going to get dropped. Big Penis comes in, and he manages to survive. Facile looking for counter pressure, still just throwing in those aim shots, but I don't know how much time they have left. There's no Divine Shield. Nobbers might drop as well. This is crazy.
Relza has about 1% left in his mana bar. They have one more attempt, and there we go. Full fear, mind games. Back out. How is he going to survive? Is the bite going to be big? He uses the Astral Shift to recover, but full trap comes out. And big aim shot bite. And they are going to win this one. Ad Hoc Gaming, against all odds, being down the entire series, takes Baka down and stays alive.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Well done. I mean, when they were completely out of mana, there was nothing left. The only thing for them to do was to just push forward and try to overcome, and they managed to do it. They take down Baka, eat through all those cooldowns. Really great series to start off the day.
Yeah, it is indeed. I love hearing the excitement coming through you guys when anyone gets close to dying, because it's just, you really have no way of knowing where these games are going until someone is just dead on the floor. And yeah, major props to Ad Hoc Gaming turning that around in a best of 5, 3-2. And as this was an elimination round, we are in the lower bracket. Unfortunately, that is the last we're going to see of Tegridy until hopefully Cup number 2. And like I said before that series started, these first 4 cups are really important for these teams. They really want to get as many points as possible so they can get into that circuit series that we're going to see later on in the season. But well done to those